Well, hello, third graders of Mount Vernon. This is Mrs. Grannon, and I teach at Mount Comfort Elementary School. And I want to read to you the chapter book that we are starting. It is called Jake Drake Know-It-All, and the author is Andrew Clements. Jake Drake Know-It-All. There's a picture of our main character, Jake Drake. Here's a picture of the table of contents. Can you see how many chapters we have in our book? If you said 11, you are right. Our first chapter is called The Catch. Chapter 1, The Catch. I'm Jake Drake. I'm in 4th grade, and I'm 10 years old, and I have to tell the truth about something. I've been crazy about computers all my life. My first computer was an old Mac Classic with a black and white screen. I got to play Reader Rabbit and Magic Math. I got to draw pictures on the screen, and I played Battle Tanks. And that was before I could even read. Then our family got a Mac with a big color monitor, and I got to play Tetris and Shanghai and Solitaire and Spectra. Then I got a joystick for Christmas when I was 4, and so did my best friend Willie. Whenever Willie came to my house, we played computer games together. It's not like we played computers all the time, because my mom made an hour-and-a-half rule at my house. But Willie and I filled up that hour almost every day. Then the computers started getting super fast, and I started messing around with Virtual Drummer, and then Sim City and Sim Ant and PGA Golf, and about 10 other games. And then the internet arrived at my house, and all of a sudden I could make my computer do some pretty amazing stuff. It was like a magic window. I'm telling all of you this because if I don't, then the rest of the story makes me look like a real jerk. And I'm not a jerk. Not most of the time. I just really like computers. When I started kindergarten, there was a computer in our room. When the teacher saw I was good on it, I got to use it. I even got to teach other kids how to use it. Except for Kevin and Marcia. They didn't want me to tell them about computers or anything else. Like I said before, I'm 10 now, so I've had some time to figure out some stuff. And one thing I know for sure is this. There's nothing worse than a know-it-all. Don't get me wrong, I'm pretty smart, and I like being smart. And almost all the kids I know, they're pretty smart too. But some kids, they have to prove they're smart, like all the time. And not just smart, they have to be the smartest. And that's what Marcia and Kevin are like. Marcia McCall and Kevin Young were nice enough kids back in kindergarten, as long as I didn't try to tell them anything about the computer. Because when I tried to show Kevin how to make shapes with the drawing program, he said, "I know that." And I don't think he really did. And when I tried to show Marcia how to print out a picture of a kitten, she said, "I can do that myself." But a lot of time, Kevin and Marcia were pretty nice because kindergarten was mostly playtime. But when we got to 1st grade, school changed. All of a sudden, there were right answers and wrong answers. And Kevin and Marcia, they went nuts about getting the right answers. But it was worse than that. They both wanted to get the right answer first. It was like they thought school was a TV game show. And if you get the right answer first, you win the big prize. Anyway, they both turned into know-it-alls. Our first grade teacher was Miss Grimes. Every time she'd ask a question, Marcia would start shaking all over and waving her hand around and whispering really loud like this. Oh, 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 I know, I know, I know, I know. And while Marcia was going, oh, 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 Kevin looked like his arm was going to pull his whole body right out of his chair and drag it up to the ceiling, like his arm had its own brain or something. It was pretty awful, but Miss Grimes, she liked it when Kevin and Marcia tried to be the best at everything. She liked seeing who could get done first with the math problem. She liked letting everyone with 100 on their spelling quiz line up first for lunch or recess. First grade felt like a big contest, and Miss Grimes smiled at the winners and frowned at the losers. When she asked the class a question, most of the time Miss Grimes called out on Marcia first. If Marcia was slow or didn't know something, then Kevin got a turn. If Kevin messed up, then she would call in someone else. And I think I know why Miss Grimes always called on Marcia and Kevin. I think it's because she's kind of a know-it-all herself. I bet she was just like Marcia when she was in first grade. Second grade wasn't much better. The only good thing was that my second grade teacher wasn't like Miss Grimes. Mrs. Brattle didn't want school to be a big contest, so she hardly ever called on the know-it-alls. All year long, Mrs. Brattle kept saying stuff like, Kevin and Marcia, please look around at all the other students in this class. They have good ideas too. Just put your hands down for now. That didn't stop Kevin and Marcia. The oohing and oohing and the arm waving never let up. But last year, when I was in third grade, that's when things got out of control. And I guess it was partly my fault. And Mrs. Snaven, my third grade teacher, she had something to do with it. And so did the principal, Mrs. Carp. And so did this guy named Mr. Lenny Cordo over at Wonky's supercomputer store. He had a lot to do with it. Because Mr. Lenny Cordo came to my school one day back when I was in third grade. Mr. Lenny Cordo told me that he had a present for me, something really wonderful, something I had been wishing for. But there was one small catch, because there's always at least one small catch. And this was the catch. Before Mr. Lenny Cordo could give me this wonderful thing that I wanted so much, I had to do something.